Hi, my name is Nick Brock. So I want to do my nature observation project as a sermon, as a way to kind of show what I felt God was putting on my heart in those couple of weeks that I observed His creation. Just I just wanted to share what that was like, and I guess really what I was feeling is I saw a lot of the same stuff, and there seemed to be a very interesting theme, and really what it just made me think of. So really, I'm gonna be starting with Noah and kind of just his story. But in the 600th year of Noah's life, on the 17th day of the second month, on that day all the springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of heavens were opened, and rain fell on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. We all know this. We know that that's how Noah's story really hits its climax. We know that's where we see Noah, and he's saying, wow. But I want to say, Noah was 600 years old when the floods came, when the rain fell and the gloomy, sad days began. See, most of the days that I observed this last month were really gloomy, really rainy. It felt like all of April's really sad and gloomy and rain just came in May. It felt like I was just supposed to be depressed. But see, we see Noah in his story, and we know that in his time, God spoke to him and explained to him what he had for him. He explained the plan to Noah. He said, hey, this is what's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen. I need you to do this. God told Noah, he said, the world is corrupt. It is fallen, but you are good. He said, you are good. You are righteous and trustworthy and faithful, and I will reward you for that. God rewards Noah for being righteous and blameless and faithfully walking with him in a world of people and things that are not. In a world of people and things that are saying, we don't want to do that. Noah trusted God, and his faith was rewarded. Of course, God decided to wipe the earth, and he used the floods to do so. We all know that God said, let's restart. Let's take away those pieces. Let's take away those who are unfaithful and unrighteous. This isn't specifically stated in this passage, but I like to imagine that piece of this was God seeing the world and being treated poorly. He saw the world that was supposed to be inherited by us. He saw a world that he had given dominion over to us. He said, here you go. See, in Genesis, it also stated, and God said, let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish in the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all of the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. God states all the earth is under our dominion, but in doing so, he gives us the responsibility. And so I like to believe that a big part of it was not just not faithfully walking with God, not just being a corrupt world, but also being a world that wasn't taking care of the environment, taking care of who we are, taking care of our home, who God handed to us and said, hey, this is yours. This was mine. This is mine. But I need you to take care of it. You have dominion over it. So that became our responsibility. But I like to think that responsibility wasn't being upheld very well. So when we start looking at ourselves and our faith and our relationship with God, I believe we must also understand our relationship with God's creation. There's more to it. It's not just, God, I have a relationship with you, and you people, I have a relationship with those, but it's, do I have a relationship with the creation that God has made around me? Do I admire the world for what God built? Or am I taking it for granted and not doing my part to make sure that it's being taken care of? To make sure that I'm not disrespecting the thing that God created. I'm not disrespecting who God expected us to be for him. I'm not disrespecting the creation God made. Over the last few weeks in this class, I've really gotten to see our part in that, though. Like, I mean, yes, we always know we're not supposed to litter and we're supposed to recycle and not use so much waste and all these other things. But really, I was given the chance to see how we destroy the earth on a day in and day out basis. I mean, at one point a few months ago, I was doing a project for a class, and for some reason it got mentioned that there are so many different ways for renewable resources to be used, but we don't use them. That there are so many different ways to use sunlight to power a city, but because it's expensive and because those fossil fuels create more income, we wouldn't do it. I see us as a population, as a world, destroying it, and we all do. We all see it around us, and then we say, okay, you know what? Somebody else is going to do something about that. And I really enjoyed the Odyssey episode that we had, because it really pointed out, hey, you can't just ignore it. It's not your place to ignore it. It's not your place to just say, someone else will do that. It's your place to say, you know what, I'm going to try and make a change in my own life. Whether that's big or small, I'm still going to try and make a change. If I'm not recycling, I'm going to start recycling. If I'm not getting rid of my waste properly, I'm going to start doing that. It becomes a cycle. If you start doing it, somebody else might do it. And when they start doing it, somebody else does it. But see, I chose to focus on Noah and his story because in my observations, most of the days I saw rain. Like I said, it was gloomy, it was sad, I didn't like it. I felt as if the world, in the middle of a quarantine, if you may, has to be bigger than this. It has to be more than just sad and depressed and lonely. In the middle of a quarantine, why are we getting these horrible days that make us feel like staying inside is worse than it is? Why do we feel like we're trapped? I saw clouds and cold weather. I felt depressed and sad. I just thought to myself, why is the world not only reflecting the feeling in everyone's hearts currently, but why is it doubling down on the sadness and the fear? We focus on the sadness and the fear. We see the rain and we think sadness and fear and depression. We see clouds and gray and horribleness. And we think, why aren't there more sunny days? Why aren't there more beautiful days? And I know it's April and May, so like we are getting a lot of not fun weather, but why aren't there more beautiful days? Why aren't there more animals out? Where is the happiness that comes with beautiful weather? Where is the beauty in God's creation? And that's what I had the problem with, was I started saying rain and cold and all of these other things that make days that I don't really like, make it not beautiful. They make God's creation not beautiful, and that's wrong. That's not the right mindset. Because those parts of God's creation, those parts of the days and the nature that we see, they are beautiful in their own right. See, if we didn't have rain, we wouldn't be able to grow the things to have to eat. We wouldn't be able to have water. We wouldn't be able to have a lot of things. If we didn't have the winter, we wouldn't be able to appreciate the summer. I remember Noah and a man who was stuck on the boat with animals of every kind and with only his family in what was his own quarantine from the world he was leaving behind. A man that wholeheartedly trusted that God said, so make yourself an ark. God told Noah that he was to build an ark, take all the animals and his family, and then just go. That he was going to destroy it all as the world was corrupted. Have that kind of faith to say, God, you know what? You said do this. I trust that you're going to do this, even though this is a crazy world. Just say, God, you're going to do this, and I'm going to come out, and we're going to be better. We're going to learn. We're going to create a better world with you. Noah was placed in a moment in which God said, there is darkness, And then Noah was placed in a moment in which God said, there will be light. The world will live again. See, God does two things when he creates a covenant with Noah. Not only does he promise to never flood the earth again, but also God gives Noah's family everything. He says, just as he granted dominion to Adam and Eve and the world before the flood, God gives the world to Noah's sons and their families. He said, replenish the earth and have dominion over it. So as we stop focusing on God again granting dominion and control of the earth to us to take care of, we see that God creates a covenant that he won't destroy the world again. To fulfill that covenant, though, God provides one of the most beautiful sights known to man. A rainbow sets the precedent. In times of fear or sadness or rain, when the world seems as if it couldn't get darker or gloomier, God shines a light. God provides a reminder that not only was it darker at one point, but that he is there to protect us. That God promised never to allow those floods to destroy the world again. So in re-explaining the story of Noah, I wanted to make the understanding evident of the relationship between our rainy days and our beautiful days. For us not only to appreciate our days of sunshine and warmth, we must have the days that are rainy and sad. For us to appreciate the earth, we must have times in which we aren't able to access it and take it for granted. Right now we're being told, stay in your homes, stay away from people. Or you know what we're not being told to do? Stay away from nature. We could go out and observe on our own and say, that is beautiful. God created that. Some of us are, some of us aren't. But for the world to be reborn, there are often times when there must be something taken. But every time there's a sacrifice, there will be a better end to it. With Noah, the world was destroyed, and out of those floods came not only a better world, but a better relationship with the God who created us. With Christ, there was a sacrifice of our Savior, but through his death came the light of the world that we can be saved. But through forest fires, there is often the ability for a forest to grow back better than it was. We must see the world and understand that God's will may require sacrifice. We may have to die to the world to be born again, but we will never be led astray in the end. God will never lead us astray through our sacrifice. He will say, give me this and I will give you something better. Our home must be taken care of now rather than later, because he will take care of us. But we have to take care of what he's given us. I know this was really long. Longer than I was supposed to go, but my observation was a really interesting project because I enjoyed it so much. Because after all, even though there were some really sad and gloomy days and rainy days, I was able to kind of see the light at the end of the tunnel with those days. And really, I was able to look at quarantine as less of a punishment and more of a reset. You do this now, and God will reward later. So, there's hope, but the world is ours to protect and to take care of. So, thank you so much.